Welcome to Hidden Costs. Think about the last thing you bought online, that tiny spark of electricity when you finally clicked order. Was that feeling actual joy or just a temporary hit of dopamine designed to keep you trapped in an endless consumption loop? For one full year, thousands of people are choosing to buy absolutely nothing. No new jeans, no shiny tech, no limited editions. At first glance, it looks like a simple budget challenge, but as days turn into months, they discover something truly chilling inside. The true cost of our modern lifestyle is not what we spend, it is exactly what we lose in the spending process. Tonight, we are investigating the fascinating no-buy year. It is not about minimalism, it's about reclaiming your brain from algorithms. We've been played by a massive system where, for decades, the American dream was heavily sold as a completely full shopping cart. But recently, this endless treadmill has sped up to a dangerous crawl, and we are constantly pushed to consume more than ever before. In the United States alone, the average person now buys about 53 new pieces of clothing every single year, without thinking twice. That is essentially one new garment every single week, a staggering amount of fabric passing through our lives so quickly. Giant corporations are not just selling cheap clothes anymore, they're successfully selling disposable dopamine to a highly addicted global consumer base. These massive brands have mastered the dark art of planned obsolescence, which applies not just to the product, but to your interest. You are not buying that jacket because you actually need it. You are buying it because the system demands your constant participation. The entire digital environment is carefully designed to make you feel completely left behind if you don't hit that purchase button. So, the no-buy year was born out of pure frustration, a radical and powerful act of modern digital sabotage. The rules of this experiment are incredibly simple. You only buy absolute essentials, with no upgrades and no treat-yourself moments. It's just you and the things you already own, and you are forced to confront the quiet emptiness of your own bedroom. Here's the secret big retail companies never want you to know. The psychological high always happens long before you spend money. Advanced brain scans show that dopamine spikes dramatically during the hunt, the endless scrolling, the comparing, and the thrilling anticipation of buying. By the time that cardboard package finally hits your front porch, those exciting brain chemicals are already fading into absolute nothingness. You are already desperately looking for the next exciting hit while the box sits unopened on your floor. Retailers hire brilliant attention architects to turn simple apps into digital casinos where the house always wins. The infinite scroll and those flashing countdown timers are not accidents. They represent highly calculated psychological warfare against your tired human brain. When you suddenly stop buying things for a whole year, you go through literal chemical withdrawal, anxiety, restlessness, and pure mental exhaustion. You feel that phantom itch to check your favorite shopping apps late at night, and the silence of not consuming feels incredibly deafening. But around month 3 of this challenge, something strange and beautiful happens. The overwhelming digital noise finally stops echoing in your mind. Participants consistently report a profound sense of stabilized happiness. When you stop seeking external peaks, your internal baseline finally starts breathing again. Why is this simple act of self-restraint so incredibly hard for us? Because your personal discipline is a threat to the economy. A massive portion of our global wealth is completely driven by mindless consumer spending. We are trapped in a golden economic cage. If we all just stopped buying things we do not actually need, the entire financial system would stall and potentially collapse entirely. We are quite literally told by society that our patriotic duty means consuming as much as humanly possible until we eventually die. The hidden cost of this lifestyle is twofold. Environmentally, fast fashion carbon emissions now rival the output of entire developed Western nations. Mountains of discarded synthetic clothing are slowly suffocating our planet, drowning us in cheap fabric that will never fully decompose. But socially, the damage is even more profound. We are rapidly losing our core human identity in this endless sea of transactions. As famous philosophers warned decades ago, modern society has tragically moved away from the concept of being into the obsession of having. We no longer say that we are passionate hikers. Instead, we proudly declare that we have the absolute latest outdoor designer gear. We have completely outsourced our unique personalities to massive corporate brands, letting colorful logos define who we are to the world. This constant need to display our purchased identities creates a hollow society where we are walking billboards for companies that do not care. Every single advertisement you see is a carefully crafted psychological manipulation designed to make you feel inadequate without their shiny new product. The advertising executives sit in glass towers celebrating their record profits while our homes become cluttered warehouses of forgotten and useless junk. Look around your own living space right now. How many objects sitting on those shelves have not been touched in several years? Each forgotten item represents hours of your precious life energy traded for a fleeting moment of artificial satisfaction that vanished almost instantly. We are sacrificing our limited time on Earth to buy things we do not need simply to impress people we barely know. The no-buy year forces you to face this uncomfortable reality head-on, stripping away the comforting illusion of retail therapy. Without the constant distraction of online shopping, you are left alone with your actual thoughts, and this sudden clarity can be absolutely terrifying. Many people report intense emotional breakdowns during the first few weeks as they realized they were using purchases to numb their deep sadness. Shopping had become a highly effective emotional pacifier. Whenever stress or loneliness crept in, a quick online purchase would instantly soothe them. But pacifiers do not solve the underlying problems. They merely mask the symptoms, while the emotional decay continues to spread silently inside. Once the pacifier is finally removed, the real healing process can officially begin, and people start rediscovering their forgotten passions and hidden talents. Instead of spending Saturday afternoons wandering mindlessly through crowded shopping malls, they start reading books, painting, or simply walking in nature. They realize that the most valuable experiences in human life cannot be added to a digital shopping cart or delivered by drones. Time is the only truly non-renewable resource we have, and every dollar you save by not shopping is actually a piece of freedom. Financial independence is not just about having a massive bank account, it is about having the ultimate power to control your time. When you stop constantly upgrading your phone and your wardrobe, you suddenly find yourself with a surprising surplus of money and energy. This newfound wealth allows you to make completely different life choices, finally stepping off the exhausting corporate hamster wheel forever. The minimalist movement touched on these ideas, but the no-buy challenge takes it to a much deeper and more radical level. It is a complete detox for your consumerist soul, flushing out the toxic marketing messages that have infected your daily thoughts. As you progress through the challenging months, the intense urges to consume slowly fade away into a peaceful and quiet mental landscape. You start looking at flashy advertisements with a sense of amused detachment. The magical spell of modern consumerism has finally been broken. You realize that the sleek new car or the designer watch will never actually provide the deep fulfillment your spirit truly craves. True contentment comes from within, not from a factory in another country, a realization that is liberating for you but dangerous to capitalism. If this mindset spreads too far, the entire economic machine would start to violently shake because the system relies entirely on your dissatisfaction. Corporations spend billions of dollars every year researching new ways to make you feel completely miserable about your current normal life. They invent new micro-trends and aesthetic movements just to make your perfectly good clothes feel instantly outdated and socially unacceptable. It is a rigged game where the only winning move is to simply stop playing altogether. You must actively refuse to participate. Reclaiming your personal power starts with a single conscious decision. You must look at your life and boldly declare that enough exists. You do not necessarily need to commit to a full year of zero spending to experience these profound and life-changing benefits. You can start by implementing small, intentional friction points into your daily routine to break the seamless automation of modern one-click buying. Try adopting the famous 30-day rule. Whenever you feel the sudden urge to buy a completely useless item, simply write it down and wait. Force yourself to wait exactly 30 days before making the final purchase. This simple pause destroys the immediate dopamine-driven emotional spike. Most of the time, the overwhelming desire completely vanishes into thin air because the urge was never really about the product. It was always about a fleeting emotion you were trying to desperately capture or a painful void you were trying to fill. Ask yourself a simple question before buying. Will I actually care about this specific plastic object in 5 long years' time? Am I buying this expensive gadget just to fill a deep emotional void that a simple 10-minute walk could easily fix? Living with deep intentionality is the ultimate middle finger to the predictive algorithms that are constantly trying to control your behavior. You become a glitch in their perfect matrix. A consumer who suddenly refuses to consume is a terrifying anomaly to the system. The no-buy-year community is growing rapidly across the globe as millions of people wake up from this exhausting retail coma. They are sharing stories of financial recovery and mental clarity, taking back their minds from the greedy corporations. This movement is proving that we don't need a constant stream of new things to feel like valid, successful human beings. By stepping outside the cycle of consumption, we finally find the space to build a life that is actually worth living. The journey isn't easy, but the clarity you find on the other side is the most precious thing you will ever own. I am your host, and this is Hidden Costs. Subscribe to help us uncover the next invisible price tag. Thanks for watching.